doing a live show today. We had a whole bunch of consciousness wisdoms and informations, light wisdoms, light codes. I've been really excited to come online and share all of the energies that I've been churning within and I've been alchemizing. So I'm really grateful that I've had the energy and I've had the spontaneity to create videos for those that so desire, that choose to align and extend and practice your 3 E's, your exploration, expression, and experience through all creation allows you to evolve. And we're so very blessed that we all get the opportunity to evolve, because life is not life without evolution, the constant change of all things that is evolution. The only thing we can really rely on is that all things will change. And so thank you so much for everyone that shares our videos, that returns to create magnificent heart pulsations of our collective oneness. Every time we gather in this beautiful garden, in this beautiful jewel that we call Gaia, we are moving into the vastness of our cosmic, galactic, universal unity. We're allowing ourselves to remember who we are as star children, as connected celestials and aliens and humans, all coming back together one more time as we spiral into new moments of now. Every moment of now is a new spiral of creation. We are given a new day every day to choose who we want to be, to choose who we are creating ourselves in the conscious design, the collective design, the heavenly design, and that being our sacred Trinity. And the sacred Trinity is something we're going to talk about as much as we can, because we want you to feel always supported. We want you to feel always embedded. We want you to feel always loved unconditionally by the sacred Trinity, which is the heavens and all that is the heavens, which is all things that are above 3D, because that's all we've really known. It's all we've really allowed ourselves to experience in the fragmentation. So we're going to talk about fragmentation, what really is that within the soul's blueprint, the teams that you come with within the soul's blueprint, how that is the alignment of the creative self, the creative soul. It is all that is your godly self recombining, remembering itself, reharmonizing itself back into the soul's aspect of godliness. And so we're allowing ourselves to know that right now within this one universe, there are 13 dimensions. And within those 13 dimensions, you have infinite aspects of yourself, of the soul and the oversoul of oversouls, and it goes all the way up to the 13th dimension. And why there are very aspects of the higher realms, the hierarchies of who we are as a soul, that trickle-down expression of who we are within the multiverse allows us to encapsulate, allows us to explore and express and experience ourselves all over again every day as higher and higher vibrational aspects of who we are as dimensional, multidimensional, interdimensional beings, multiverse beings. And so we wanted to bring forward some creative musings. We wanted to bring forward some stories, some analogies, and just keep churning, keep expressing, keep expanding in the inhale and exhale of who we are becoming as fifth dimensional beings. I'm going to be doing a light language activation for just clearing away any densities that you may have about creativity, about who you are as a divine being. We're going to call forward your higher self for harmonization through your chakras. And then we're just going to allow ourselves to ground and do a really quick visualization that will give you hopefully inspiration on who you are as source creator and godliness. We want to allow ourselves to keep thinking further and further and higher and expanded, knowing that the micro is the macro is the micro. We are in a holographic experience, and source is all that is. We are all source. Within each other, not only are we brothers and sisters, but we are showing ourselves that we are one, and the vibrations that we show ourselves in every moment is our own creation of what we need to see, when we need to see, and how we need to see it. So just know that that's how much of a creator God you are. In every moment, you create every moment of your reality. You create the peripheral, you create the things in front of you, create the things behind you and before you. That is your vibration. And so for that alteration of your vibration, it takes that you go within, because that is the only way you change the outer, is going within on the inner. There is nothing in the outer that changes your vibration as opposed to what we talk about is the omnipresence and the substrates becoming more higher light. It's becoming more higher light because the collective is waking up every day. Our galaxy, the galaxy and the universe within it, which we're going to talk about right now. I just did this little drawing this morning because this is the thermometer that I see when we talk about the DNA allocation. And then if you could imagine the DNA threading in there and the codons that I always show you. And it just goes from 0 all the way up to the 13th dimension. And this is also when we talk about this side view, thank you so much for your love, and I love you too. all of all of this perspective that I'm talking about is a side view of our universe. I'm just going to give it to you as I wish I had illustrator gifts and skills, but it will come in the future when I have resources to pay for a really great illustrator. When I talk about dimension, I'm always talking about DNA. And we're going to get more and more into that, and perhaps I might go a little bit into it. Some of the downloads I've been getting about the DNA and dimension and your expansiveness of consciousness. And so again, it goes back to the informations I've been downloaded by Thoth, and understanding the substrates and how the substrates activate and how the substrates massage and how the abs substrates create that holding, gentle space, the supportive space, the unconditional loving space for all that you are in the capacity and aptitude of becoming source, your godliness. And that is all of your 13 dimensions as you're spiraling within this one universal experience. We just want to keep it to this universe because sometimes some of the other drawings I have is the trifecta of the universe, because I wanted to show you that there is always a lower and a higher version of universes that the universes work within to push and pull energies and timelines and frequencies up and in and out. And it's up to Source Creator, Mother, Father, God. They're the ones that are constantly churning within the local universe and refining threads and refining timelines. And there's also the consciousness beings all the way up to the 13th dimension, various beings of specialty that help refine various dimensional bandwidths, so that if there's refinements that are needed, for instance, any stagnancies, any blocks, any destructions, then there are those consciousness beings of a very high order, usually the 7th and above, that the celestials and the galactics come in through the Divine Father's word, through the Divine Father's will of moving things forward in the dynamic of science that Source is and only God is, to know what energies are being fed from the multiverse. And there are certain consciousness beings within the universe that go in and they help assist, like the Arcturians and the Creator gods. There's beings of consciousness I talked about a long time ago on my radio show, and they were just a weaving of the highest vibrational light pink and peach energies, and they were movements of sound, and they would go to the farthest reaches of the universe, and they would help refine and smooth out and beautify any of the vibrational threads in whatever dimension that they were chosen to go to. And these are the specialties that we reach and we move into in the higher aspects of our soul fragmenting, if you will. But it's higher soul fragments, so they're more unified the higher you go. And these threads of bandwidth or dimension, which is vibration and information, they're wider and they're more refined. So that means the sounds and the songs within them are more refined, and they carry great information, they carry greater quota, and they carry greater wisdom, obviously because it's a higher dimension. It encapsulates all of the universe's information up to the 13th dimension. So as we move higher above, we create new dimensions of expansiveness without, because the lower is becoming healed, just as the micro macro. See if this is us right here. The micro macro, as triggered, we're pulling up the subconscious, we're pulling up the darker aspects, we're pulling up our soul fragments, and we face it and we deal with it and we transmute it every day. Therefore, the densities become light because we're allowing it to be the 3 A's. We're accepting it, acknowledging it, and allowing it to become greater light. And then we're reharmonizing in a new now moment, knowing that in every moment we can choose to be consciously awake and live from our heart space. Therefore, all of that was old and all that was dark, you're now knowing and understanding of the woundings you sit within, the themes you've come to play within, and knowing that there's infinite soul fragments through all of the dimensions that are you. That's the fragmentation. But first, it begins your very first breath with Source Creator. Source Creator from the 13th dimension is breathing you and breathing you into the joy of creation, and then it's separated into fragmentations based on the excitement of that soul and what it needed to express and what it wanted to experience and explore. 7th dimensional, I'll just give you an example. So to say the 7th dimensional, my aspect of the 7th dimensional in Arcturus, I do a lot of work with the galactic grids and the energies in space. So if there's anything out of alignment due to, I have understanding and knowing of the time-rana shift and the time-rana wave that had happened in the destruction, and it made a lot of discrepancies. It made it very difficult for traveling in and out of dimension and in and out of dimensional threads and interdimensional threads within our universe when the crucifixion of the Christ occurred. And so because of the rip and the tear on Gaia, because of Jesus' crucifixion, it rippled out to all of the universe. It rippled out and created tears and rips, which made it very difficult for other dimensions higher to move in and out of the slipstream and portals that it once had, because there was a unified experience of flow and harmonics within the quantum field, within the unified field. So if there's anything split or cut in the unified field, it's no longer truly unified, although it's always truly unified, which I'm going to talk about today. It always is unified. There is never separation. But there are rips and tears, just like there are in our aura. So when we get attacked by black magic and voodoo, and we have so much trauma in our life that our auras, the fields that we rest within, do become ripped and torn. As I just explained to you, there is a micro and a macro to the whole universe. When something happens within a planet that is of the densest, farthest away, if there's a rip and tear in that one, it will ripple to the butterfly effect to those planets that are on the outer and the more closer to the sun. And when they travel in and out of dimensions, when they travel in and out of the aspects of the omni-wave, the omnipresent, or the sheath that is the omnipresent, the unified field, there are rips and tears, and it causes great challenge and great harm, because the light and the source energies from source creator, from the sun and from all that is not flowing frequently. It has to go in and around, and now it's bumping around things, and the stagnancy of the energies that are moving to and from a unified flow are inhibited, and it becomes very problematic for many reasons. So I was a part of the seventh dimensional Arcturians, and the seventh dimensional Arcturians were a part of honoring the fragmentation and the places within the universe that needed higher vibrational help. And those aspects of higher vibrational help, Source wants me to let everybody know that once God says that, okay, say Sector 7 here needs some help because it's been traumatized, there's some destruction going on there. So the highest vibrational beings, anybody within the galaxy, within the multiverse that wants to come in and assist with certain light work, they will create meetings and immediate meetings and gatherings, because they know how to split their consciousness in infinite ways when you're seventh dimensional and higher. And all of those that are coming together through Source Creator, through God, remember, if there is an asking, there is an answering. All of the beings that want to work with healing certain timelines and vibrational threads, because maybe they might be working on something in a higher universe here, and they've already learned something, so they can come and work on the lower university here, the universe here. So these beings, just as I was called by the mother to come in and do certain work within this lower vibrational planet, thus then rippling out to the galaxy of what I'm able to carry from this universe to this universe, and then to the lower universe. And is constantly working with an infinity of feeding the energies of negative and higher, and negative and higher, and negative and higher. And so as we become higher consciously aware, we're understanding that everything that we are within, in the smaller aspects to the grander aspects, are very similar in the micro macro. We do have sheaths of light around us that is a beehive, that is in kind of an 8-foot to 12-foot field, depending on our aura, depending on how much light we radiate. And it is no different to the universe. And then there's many universes around us, because we do have to have constant feeding of higher and lower, because that's how all is churning, all is alchemizing. The lower universes are also arising, the middle universes are arising, and the higher universes arise, just like the trickle-down effect. There's always the trickle-down effect. So the higher universes will feed the lower universes, and then we're constantly evolving. That is why evolution is so important. That is why balance is so important. So if there is a rift anywhere, like the Time Rana rift that occurred here in the lower 3D dimension, right? Because we want to get down to the lower 3D, that's where we are. So in the lower dimension, when Jesus was crucified, it caused a tear and a rip. So that affected everybody in the local universe. It is now corrected and healed. And so this seventh dimensional version of me came in to do a lot of help and fixing with the Time Rana. Therefore, this 3 or 4 or 5D version of me had the vibrational information from all of the soul fragments that I've come to heal and to integrate and to harmonize, because it is a soul. I have a whole soul, and my soul consists of all fragments, all aspects between here and the 13th dimension. So as I'm integrating, as I'm harmonizing, as I'm loving myself, and as I'm loving the 3 E's of myself, I get to pull on the information of all of these other soul fragments. It becomes now active, that I get to work with it, and that's what we've called the DNA allocation. As you're integrating the lower subconscious aspects that are coming up to be healed and integrated, and it's no different between the universes. This Jesus tear was a subconscious, because those wounds were held within the subconscious of Gaia. All life upon Gaia, since the beginning of human life as it existed, there was always discriminations. There was always those judgments and fragmentations of divine feminine, divine masculine. And that also mirrored our separation and our discrimination between who we are as godly. So in this higher vibrational experience of now we're turning into 5D, how can we allow ourselves to know that we are all one within the universe? We are all one within Mother, Father, God. We're now reunifying our divine feminine, divine masculine soul fragments, and that we have soul fragments of all aspects all the way up to the highest level of our universe. And you'll see that as you become awaken and in your 5D full state, when you're harmonized with your higher self, you will absolutely start to feel yourself in any of these higher soul fragments, what the job is and what the roles are and the excitements that are also related to this now timeline. Because remember, just as your lower soul fragment wounding is related to this soul timeline, so too are your higher soul fragments of the 10th, 11th, 12th. Just as I give you explanations of my 7th Pleiadian, my 7th Arcturian, I have 7th dimensional Pleiadians and Arcturian aspects. And so even though they're different planets, it's all in the 7th dimension. Of course, the 7th dimension is quite a bit wider and really refined compared to a 3, 4, and 5D. The 7th D is like magnificent. I like to go to the 7th dimension because that's where I reach for my main guide, my higher guide, the one that is always with me, the one that I talk to. And that is my 7th dimensional guide trainer. And he is my main guide. He does a lot of work with my brain. He knows that his specialty and his work is on the 7th dimensional. So he's reaching up. If I'm 3 dimensions higher, he's reaching up 3 dimensions higher, going as high as he can. And he recently told me that him and his counterpart were working on, this is what they do in the 7th dimension, just to give you an idea. Counterparts. Thank you, Lord Michael, for all the protection and love you're bathing the chat line with, and all those that are really excited about learning. And just know that you're all protected and loved, and you can place your feet on the floor and just straighten your spine for all the love and the codes and the light that we're going to do. And we'll do a light language activation and clearing. But my 7th dimensional guide, who is my main guide, and he's been with me forever, and he said he will be with me forever. Because he is an aspect of me. He is this is the oversoul, and it goes all the way up, oversoul of oversoul, oversoul of oversoul, because you've got many higher aspects that carry the lower fragmentation of your soul. So the higher oversouls, they bathe down into the oversoul pocket. They're your grandparents, if you will. The oversoul are like your soul grandparents. And they're a bigger body of your soul. And then they have fragments that go out into the infinite dimensions. So I can have a 7th dimensional Arcturian and a 7th dimensional Pleiadian. Even though the 7th dimension is massive and huge, I can have soul fragments on whatever planet I want, whatever this oversoul needs to experience. So you'll usually find the themes of the fragmentations usually have similar themes, i.e. we like to work with harmonics and the grids in the galaxy as well as the universe. I was called from another universe by the mother to come in and specifically help with this timeline's ascension because of the Father's plan on what was needed specifically for not only my oversoul fragments, so that I could complement all of my other soul fragments in the higher realms, and they could also complement the lower aspects of me that they absolutely knew, all of my higher aspects, because they love me so unconditionally. They know how well we work together. They know that I would awaken and I would align with my higher self, and I would want to pull in and I would want to harmonize all my soul fragments. They knew that once I awakened, that I would absolutely start pulling in all of the energy and information, skills, wisdoms, and gifts of the lower fragments of me, so that all of these higher soul fragments could expand out even further. So it was a very big, from what I understand, it was a very big soul blueprint for all of us to take on, the oversoul and the oversoul, and it goes all the way up, because we can't understand how big dimensions are like above us, because it's just so vast and wide. It's so profound. When we get to the 5D, we will spend many, 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 many cycles, because we're not going to be going through time. We're going to release what we know to be time and space. It will be timeless. When we get to 5D, it will be timeless. But 5D, we can spend millions of years in 5D. That's how expansive a dimension can be. As you get higher, of course, it's more expansive, and there is no time. There's no describing of what makes a dimension, because again, as this dimension 3, 4, and 5 expand, it's lifting up and expanding out and in and out and in, because that's the universe. That's what universe does, just as your breath does. You're a micro macro. That universal dimension of 5 now is getting bigger and wider. So we've just, in all of the beings on earth that have awakened, we've just expanded the 5th dimensional experience of who we are and who we've been. So now all the 5th dimensional Arcturians we have aspects of Arcturian, we have our aspects of Pleiades, all of the planets within this one universe, if you will, and all of the soul fragments of the universes beside us in the lower and the higher universes. I'm just showing you multiversal. This is how you're connected. In this one universe, we are moving up. The lower sheaths are pulled out. Source brings in higher energies that come down. This is how it comes in. The higher energies from the lower universe come in. the higher energies from the higher universe come in. So we're constantly being bathed and churned in this universe. Source smooths it out. There are consciousness beings from every dimension that help travel to different sectors that need the harmony, because it's all done by sound and light. And through the Father's plan, sound and light, they are given instructions. They have the expertise. Part of my expertise in the 7th dimension to the 9th dimension is working on these grids, because there has been galactic rips and tears due to galactic wars, due to planetary wars, due to planetary stories that were very pivotal. That Adam Eve story was very pivotal for Earth to move forward in her ascension. It was a core story. That's why it's still our core theme that we're working on. So that Adam Eve story was all about discrimination of who we are as godly and our separation of God. God as being all, God as being the exploration of all, and not judging it, and moving forward, allowing yourself to stay in your own lane. Now we're teaching everybody how to remain within their own sovereignty, so that there is no further harm and disruption by moving into the interference of other people's lanes, so that each and every one of us can be the epitome of our universal balance, which is the law number 2. It's so important. Balance is so, so key. Because if you're thrown off emotionally and you have those woundings of separation, segregation, or discrimination, it does throw off the toroidal spin. It throws off your balance as being, a balanced, grounded body on a planet, if you will. And so all of those energies have energy that must be released, and why you've seen volcanoes erupt and things like that. There has to be those energetic bursts that release those energies, because there has been so much imbalance, because the light wisdoms have not been openly taught. Once we understand who we are within the grander multiversal scope, the micro, macro, the holographic, the one is one, then we understand that, we do have soul's blueprint, and it is multiversal. Once you reach a certain level of consciousness, when you enter into the 5D, you're going to learn how to ask yourself and your higher self, through your higher self only, give me a couple of threads where I can see above me in the other dimensions, so that I can bring those wisdoms down to me in this dimension, and I can anchor those teachings in, which is what I ask my guides all the time. Give me a download on the brain and light, and how that is interacted when we're moving through ascension. How does light affect aspects of the brain and memory and consciousness? And so I asked this question yesterday on my walk with my teams. I was saying we want to bring in the idea of who you are as godly, the DNA allocation, and consciousness. Consciousness is the inhale and the exhale of who you are within the all, seeing yourself as the all. So as you're becoming aware of yourself within the all, you're all these fragments, you're all these aspects, then you're saying, okay, well, I'm calling it in. I can do this. This is your alchemy. I can know that I'm a grander part of the all. I am one with Mother, Father. I am a grander umbrella. I belong to all dimensions. I belong to all universes. There your consciousness grows. So then I had this question to my team. I said, when I become integrated, and I've manifested that integration of those lower aspects, if I want to have a memory of a higher aspect of the 7th dimension, does that come from the DNA? Does that come from the DNA activation I've just had? Does that come from the consciousness I've opened within, the omnipresent, the fields of it? Because it's not held in my brain. My 3D, 4D, 5D brain does not hold that 7D memory of that life that I'm moving in, say, the Pleiades or Arcturus. If I want to offer you an example of moving to a sector of space and working on grids, then I can do that, and that's a memory that my consciousness is pulling up. I'm pulling on that thread. I'm saying, can you bring this down to me? Can you offer that to my consciousness here? Consciousness here says, okay, it's in my field. It's in my field here. My brain, as we've talked about before, is the tool to call in that information. Your consciousness is everything to do with the expansion of who you are as godly in whatever threads these are. So go listen to that 3 or 4 times. It is your consciousness, your knowing that all of these fragments are you, the multiverse is you, these dimensional threads and what you exist within is new and infinite. It is not the brain that holds that memory. Your 3D brain doesn't hold the memory. Your 3D brain is the tool through which pulls from your consciousness. That's why we have aspects of the brain that are directly related to our consciousness, and it sits at the very base of the skull. And the cerebellum, I've always been so intrigued by the cerebellum. And of course, then we have the pineal, and we have all these beautiful things that work as this whole system of the divine design and mechanism of how so miraculous God has designed us. And so I asked my teams and I said, okay, that's what I knew. I knew it. I knew the answer before I asked it. So these are the higher vibrational questions that I talk with my teams as I'm going on walks, because I want to know that as I'm integrating, I'm becoming more harmonized, I'm becoming more infused with my higher aspects, those sheaths that have come and laid over the whole being of me. I now have the resonance and I now have the vibrations that are just sitting in my field, and I can have these multidimensional questions of the higher aspects, those little, all the fragments of wherever I am, because my oversoul is always trickling down information and wisdoms to me. And so the seventh dimensional version of me said, so if I've integrated and I want to reach up, and I said, how can I have a memory of that seventh dimensional version of me? Is it held within my consciousness, and does my DNA have to be activated first for me to actually pull that seventh dimensional version in? And my teams had said, it is both. When the DNA gets activated, right? If I've cleared and I've integrated these aspects, if I'm a fifth dimensional entering the 5D gates, I have some potentials to go up to the seventh dimensional harmonics, because I'm aligned. I work with my alignment every day, and the more I work with my alignment, the higher I get to go. Those soul memories or those experiences that seventh dimensional aspect of me has, it's always in my field because source is all one, it's always there. But you have to have the DNA activation, you have to have the capacity and aptitude to understand what that seventh dimensional version being of you is doing. Because seventh D is not who we are, they're non-physical. They're becoming more and more non-physical every day because they're becoming more and more light. And so I said to my guide, I was just giving an example. I said, well, give me an idea of what you do. Like, what do you and your counterpart do in seventh dimensional? And he said that him and his counterpart are working on holding light frequencies. They're holding light codes for those that on the lower frequencies for our counterparts. And I said, well, okay, well, that's fun. What does that mean? Like, what? So I started to think, I started to now imagine my brain and my higher self, and all it is my consciousness, because I have to continue growing my capacity and aptitude. So if this was a trickle-down effect from a seventh dimensional verse, said, okay, we're holding light codes as counterparts, because we want all of the counterparts on 3 and 4 and 5 dimensions, all that the oversoul is connected to, they want their counterparts to rise up. They want their counterparts to work in unison for the counterparts to hold light codes for the higher parts and the lower parts, because it's always the trickle down, and then the trickle down spans out, expanding that dimension. As we're entering into the 5, I don't have a counterpart yet, but we are working together in the spiritual realm, but not in the physical realm yet. So as we connect in the physical realm expands in that breath, because the counterparts in the higher dimensions are holding light codes for us as counterparts. So that just goes and mind boggles your mind boggle, because especially if you've been single most of your life and you're going to be into union, you're going to be joining in union with those beings that are going to help expand that dimensional bandwidth that you're on, because it is we're going into a new 5D. There's beings always that are in that 5D experience, and there's beings that are going to come after us. So the 5D is going to grow infinitely now forever, right? But this is the first time that 3D moves into 5D, so there's a whole bunch that we need to know. There's a whole bunch of light that we're going to get bathed with. There's tears and rips and energies we have to heal from before. How and why did it occur, so that we don't go through that again? And how and why our belief systems, how and why church and state have been holding us back, and moving into an infinite umbrella of all that we are as all source creator, as the omnipresent, understanding that everything is quantumly magnified, everything is a quantum holographic experience. We always have the higher aspects of trickling. Any soul fragment that we have in any higher dimension is going to offer us that bandwidth of information. And this is what I get so excited. I get so excited about soul blueprints. And I wish I had better graphics that I could show you what happens in my third eye and how Mother, Father, Source speak through me as a conduit. So we just give you that experience of the seventh dimension. There are counterparts, there are counterparts, 2 versions of me in the divine feminine and masculine energies, all the way up to the 13th dimension, and it does look like a DNA strand. That's what it looks like, because it's always that spiraling effect. And as the codons of those counterparts, so just, if you can, go slow, write it down if you want, or go listen to this again, because this is brand new information. Nobody's ever talked about this before. In that DNA, version, I'm just going to see if I can find it. In the DNA sequencing, so they're giving me a vision right now, and I'm just having to put it on hold. Can you just put that vision on hold and don't let me forget? This is one thing about being a conduit, that sometimes the downloads come so fast. Okay, Okay, so as this codon, this is just so, I just love this. This is like mind-boggling. As this codon is activated by light, because we've done the integrating, we're understanding that the shadow is all us, everything we see outside of us is us, we're integrating, we're accepting, we're loving, we're making right with it, we're just allowing people to be who they are, stay in their lane, stay in your lane. As this codon is activated, this codon is equal to, but not exclusive, which means that it has infinite potential to growth. We're just giving this as an example, but it's infinite within itself of itself. This codon that just got activated is the same as this soul fragment partner of mine, the seventh dimensional Pleiadian, that's working with its counterpart to do light codes. And so I was saying this is just the enmeshing of the soul blueprint. This is what I love so much. So as you're moving about your healing, right? You're moving about your healing and you're doing your integration, your consciousness just opens up. Like one day you're going to wake up and you're just going to say, well, I just had a really weird thought and I really had a weird question. This is why I say work with your teams. And so I was going on my walk and I was saying, well, what do you guys do up there in the seventh dimension? If I didn't have this codon activated, this is what they wanted to show me. If this codon wasn't activated, it was still closed, and it was still in the dark, and my chakras were closed and my chakras were dense, I wouldn't have been able to bathe that with light and have that open up to have the information of, well, whatever you're doing in the seventh dimension, I can feel it. Otherwise, I wouldn't have had the question. I wouldn't have had to ask the question. Haven't even had the question within me. So we go to the same experience I want to give you as an example. So just close your eyes and open your hearts. I'm going to give you an example as to how you know you're growing in godly consciousness. You're growing in your God's oversoul of oversoul of oversoul, the infinite aspects above you and below you. You are all in one and one is all. You are the divine feminine, you are the divine masculine, you are the divine mother, and you are the divine father. Just say, for instance, and close your eyes. I want to practice with our third eye. So just call in your higher teams of light and love. Call in the highest benevolent beings of healing. Call in the highest benevolent beings that allow your expansiveness through exploration, experience, and expression of who you are. Take a deep breath, your full body breath, so you should feel your shoulders move as the cavity of light, fills up with breath, fills up with air. Breathe in, lifting your whole cavity. Full body breaths are big and long and slow. Full body breath. You should start to feel your body encapsulate with spirit. It should start to vibrate. It should start to feel a humming. Take full body breaths and visualize yourself being bathed with white light. And we're asking the angels, we're asking all the celestials, all of our healing teams, all of our guides, our higher selves to bathe every person online now and future now moments. Put a protective veil of the electric blue, Archangel Michael light. So visualize electric blue light, bathing in and around you, sealing your chakras with protection while you open up your chakras and create love and light. Your intention of love and light. Your intention of love and light. Your chakras are open, your chakras are spiraling, love and light, love and light, love and light, bathing electric blue light, bathing the crystalline white Christed light, bathing the peach and the pink, love of the Christ consciousness, bathing the rainbow colors of crystalline light. It's transparent, it's clear, it's bathing you. Every chakra is now open and spiraling. Your spine is straight. You call in light with intention. I call in light and I accept light to be a part of my life. I accept light to be the design of who I am as love and infinite growth, infinite potential. I accept light to be a part of my breath and my thought and my word and my deed. I accept light within my cells and my DNA and my atoms and molecules, the smallest to the grandest. I am light. I accept light as the code of who I am as source creator. I accept light within my life right now as mother and father living through me. I accept life as I am, that I am. I am all light. Within all darkness, I am light. And take a deep breath. And we want you to imagine as your eyes are closed and focus on your higher self guiding you to your third eye. And you are protected, and Archangel Michael is protecting all those within the space that truly want to evolve and practice their spiritual gifts, their psychic gifts, their multidimensional gifts, their multi-source gifts, their omni gifts of who they are as spirit, soul, and essence and human. And we want to practice our third eye to see ourselves as source. We want to expand our consciousness. We want to expand our thoughts, our words, and our deeds, and our understanding of who we are as source. Our intention is to expand as source because we are accepting light into our lives. We're accepting light as the purveyor of our wisdom. We're accepting light as our intelligence. And we're connecting it now. We want to connect who we are in this human body, to understand consciousness a little bit more through this activity, through this example, We want to know that we do have chakras and they allow us infinite wisdoms as we connect it with light, as we engage it with light, as we align it with light, as we build a relationship with light. Because we are light, we're everything in between. And as you're taking every breath, imagine every breath you inhale, you're calling in light. You're calling in the sacred trinity of the collective and the heavens and the earth. You're calling in all that you are with your teams. You're calling in all that you are as a soul. All soul fragments and all soul light, all soul memory return to you now. Return to you now. Return to you now. All of your light and all of your energy returns to the heart space. And place your hand on your heart. And in your third eye, ask your higher self to place the guidance and the direction and the focus, and all of your intention and all your direction of your energy goes into the third eye. And your third eye is being bathed with beautiful indigo and violet light, and just cleansing it with a beautiful violet flame. Just cleansing the third eye. And your higher self will guide you to however it needs to be opened. Just trust your higher self to guide you in the perfect way. It will only open when you're ready. It will only open to the capacity and aptitude you're ready to understand it. Everybody's consciousness level is different, so your higher self knows. That's why you always surrender to your higher self. And that way your chakras will never be wounded. Your chakras will always be nourished. Your chakras will always be healed. Your chakras will always be aligned with all your other chakras. That's why you always do your work with your alliance with light. Your alliance with your higher self. Your higher self knows what it's doing. You don't have to know. Your higher self is there to guide you. And so in the surrender to your higher self, your third eye is now open. And we want to guide you to a sector of space that you have not known yet, but we're going to call it in, because if you are source, then it is source. If it is in the all, it is creation, even if you don't know about it, even if you've never been there in a 3D body, 4D body, 5D body, your higher self and all the other aspects are and do and is. So we're calling in an aspect of space, and we're going to go to Sector 7, and we're going to call it G2. Sector 7, G2. Now, each and every one of you online, now and future now moments, and even if you do this video tomorrow, and if you practice this tomorrow or even tonight, you're going to come up with a different vision. Why? Because your consciousness is growing. In every inhale and exhale, your consciousness will bring in something new. Because what you didn't know before and what you were a moment before is not what you are now. You're growing into consciousness because you're creating an alignment and engagement and a participation with Source Creator. Does that make sense, dear lighted ones? And if you speak out loud, you're giving yourself access to the source that is unseen and the cells and all that you are that operates as source. So it's always good to speak aloud as you're doing these visualizations and you're talking with your teams. I always suggest you speak out loud. Your cells need to hear that you are commanding in a loving way, that all of you work as a commandmentship of one. Your fields are a commandmentship of one, your chakras are a commandmentship of one, your pineal is a commandmentship of one, and all of your healing teams and Gaia and the energies and the omnipresent is hearing you. The universe converges to your voice of love and commandmentship. So I call all that I am is as a loving being of light, and I accept light as my divine intelligence. It is my divine birthright. My birthright is divine light intelligence and wisdoms aligned with Mother, Father, God. That is my birthright. That is my truth. When you say these things out loud, your field and your harmonics and your cells become newly encoded because you're choosing that. That is my new choice. That is my new earth alignment. My new earth alignment in my coding. I can visualize anything and anywhere. Why? Because I'm engaged and I'm in a relationship with Source Creator. I love that Source allows me to see how engaged I am with anything, anywhere, anyhow, anytime. I want to expand as high and as big and as profound as I can. Because I am that I am. Take a deep breath. Thank you, Holy Spirit. Just send a bucket of love to your higher self and have your higher self take you to that sector of space. Now that sector of space can be whatever it is as you visualize it, and each and every one of you will have a different visualization. And trust yourself, the more that you do this, you will have more and more visualizations because you're not taught and told in your normal social realities that your third eye is your higher consciousness sight will take you infinitely and eternally anywhere and all places because you're source. So practice third eye activations and visualizations. That's how you grow your consciousness. Your spirit can see anything, anywhere, anytime because it's always connected with your higher self. And your higher self is connected with what? The multiverse, God, Omni, the quantumness, the multiverse, the trinity of the multiverses. However you want to see, that third eye can take you there. That is your alignment. You're engaging, you're calling responsibility and absolute relationship. I have a relationship with my third eye right now. Take a deep breath and visualize white crystalline light. all the way up your chakras, all the way up to the heavens, all the way up to the heavens, all the way up to the heavens, all the way up to the heavens. And Mother, Father, God are allowing you a higher vibrational alignment, bathing you with love and light and your intention to have a relationship with all that you are, and the wisdoms in the chakras, and the light within the chakras, and the light that will become in your chakras as you integrate, as you love yourself, as you accept and allow and acknowledge all that you are as Mother, Father, God, omnipresent. You are connected with insects, you're connected with breath, you're connected with the space, you're connected with the fields of light and all planets within it, and all life within it, and all celestials, and all alien, and all cetaceans, and all water, and everything within everything. Life within life and life between life, that's Source Creator. Life is Source, Source is life. God is life, life is God. How can you not be? We're giving you the tools, we're giving you the visualizations, the tips and the experiences and the practices for you to practice your higher vibrational gifts and your skills and your wisdoms. There's infinite wisdoms and stories. We want to bring back story time and storyboarding of your gifts and anchor them into the planet now. So feel yourself ground into Gaia. Pretend your feet are going into the sand or touching the grass, moving into the soils. You're grounding into Gaia. As you do any higher work, you must ground yourself into the lower vibrational anchors because you want everything to be held within the anchors of Gaia. You want to expand Gaia as she's expanding you. And your higher self is going to pull in any visualizations of that sector of space. Give yourself a big breath in and say, okay, higher self, show me aspects of memory, show me aspects of experience, show me aspects of what Source Creator and I are doing in harmony in this relationship, in this engagement of that sector of space. Bring me a feeling, a sensation, a vision, a color, a sound, and harmonic. There's always harmonics in all sectors of space. That is Source Creator. That is the Omni. That is the All. God is life and life is God. Now allow your body, your multidimensional bodies and your fields and your sensings, the knowing, the hearing, the smelling, the sensing, the seeing, the visualizing, the dreaming, the imagining, the pondering, the wondering, the expanding, the dreaming, the creating, the sewing, the painting, whatever visions, whatever colors and sounds and notes and harmonies and hums come to you. And what does that space hold? Do you see planets? Do you see color? Do you see a song? Do you see music notes? We're only speaking in 3D words, but perhaps that sector of space doesn't have words. Maybe it's sound. And we want you to expand because this is capacity and aptitude, because not all places you go in the universe will have words. This is just how humans co-create and communicate at this level. But we want you to expand within your higher vibrational psychic thought, that you are telepathic and you are communicatory as Source Creator. You are Source. And you know that you're creating a space of consciousness travel, because that's what the third eye is. We're choosing to have our higher self thread us to a consciousness space and time, if you will, to somewhere we've never been before, but other aspects of us have because we are Source, we are one with the All. Now in this sector of space, if we asked you, is there life there? Now immediately, your 3D mind will go back to what you were taught and told about life. That it had to have atoms and molecules, and it had to have a body and arms and legs, and it had to have some sort of an environment that it lived within for it to be nourished and for it to survive and live and breathe. The 3D notions of life are not so anymore, because you're a higher vibrational being. Because now that you know you have infinite aspects of self within infinite aspects of dimension, and whatever the higher dimensions are in sound and color, and the vibrations of refinement, the vibrations of love, the vibrations of unity, we have no idea what that looks like. But now I want you to begin to stretch yourself through the higher gifts and skills, through your third eye, through your consciousness, through communicating and building those relationships with your higher self and your teams, that you can thread yourself to any dimension, any sector, any aspect of the Pleiades, any aspect of Sirius, any aspect of the Arcturians, because they're all you, it's all Source Creator. You can have those aspects of understanding and pull those visions in for your now co-creations, whether it be to write stories, whether it be to do paintings, whether it be to expand who you are as a multiverse being, a celestial being, activating your alien DNA, activating who you are as Source. All of these are benefits to who you are as an evolving person, to come up with higher aptitude words and language and lingo, to come up with new harmonics, to come up with new activations within your thought, word, and deed, the capacity and aptitude that you are as a soul. These are practices of higher vibrational entrainment. That's what your higher self is for, to always allow you to stretch out, reach up, and high. And so we want to ask you one more time, in this space of Sector 7, is there life there? What does life look like to you? What does it feel like? What does it sound like? The sounds and the harmonics. Te ke ma'a. Si ataya na makata te ke na naka a te ke a na ya. Tai ina pa I te ke si ma'a. Take a deep breath. Se makata ke se ma'a te ke ma'a e te shena ma'a lai te kata na ma'a e te ke e se ma'a. So they're showing me now a branch. You know, it looks like broccoli to me. So it's like a core. There is one core cog in the center, and then it spans out just like your palm of your hand. You have the palm of your hand, and then you have your fingers that span out. So it's kind of like the broccoli. It has the trunk and then the leaves. And so we've just created sound in that sector of space. So we want to ask you one more time, is there life in that area? Is there life in that sector? And what do you see? What do you know? What do you know now is your capacity and aptitude of life? Is sound life? Is whatever you might see or feel in that space, is that life? If it's cold or warm or whatever human words we have. Again, you might be going through a sensation that you don't have words for, so allow it. Just allow it and celebrate it. Your body's really having goosebumps because you're connecting to an aspect of spirit that is allowing you to explore into something that is omnipresent, that is God, that is the mother and the father, wonderfully activating you to engage in a new relationship of who you are as source. You're a spiritual being held in all aspects of life because God is life and life is God, because if there were not life there, you would not be able to do what we've just done. Take your consciousness to where it can go anywhere and all places. That's infinite eternal life. That's source. That's God. This is the true meaning of God, if you so wish, and it's always infinite from there forward. Again, there's always higher umbrellas. Now we can take that sector of 7 and go all the way up to the 13th dimension. And this is how infinite God is. This is just how profound your soul's blueprint is. If you had a theme to create song and music and sound or light language in that sector 7, we just had that broccoli effect. We just had that fanning out, that spanning out, that expansion out effect of all of those sounds now rippling out brand new because you were so excited to be somewhere you never thought you would be, that you never thought you even knew about, but there you are. Your conscious is now there and here. You're now all places. Is that not life? So life doesn't necessarily have to be what we've known and taught and told as an animal or a tree or a thing, as its growth of evolution. They are sounds. The omnipresent is the quantum intention. It is the inhale and the exhale, the movement of your knowingness, of your reflection of who you are as source. That's mind-boggling. That's an epiphany, dear lighted ones. I've taken you where you've never gone before. In any reflection that you are of source creator, that's your consciousness expanding. And what you thought you were taught and told is not who you are, you're far more. You're infinite. You never thought you could be in a sector 7 space. Well, there you are. Of course you are. If it wasn't there, if there was not life there, you would not be able to thread yourself there, to take yourself there. Consciousness is of and the all. Is that not true? Consciousness is the idea and the thought and the movement and the breath. Consciousness is your engagement. Yes, source, I found you. Let's imagine, let's play. That is the sacred child. The sacred child looks at a forest and says, wow, how can we climb? How can we dig? How can we move? How can we dance? How can we dance around this tree? The child has an infinite number of things that child can do in the forest. Those that are closed off in adulthood, if you will, those that have been so wounded, they've been closed off, they'll walk into a forest and they'll just follow the trail that is the trail. Meanwhile, the child is thinking about all these different hundreds of things that the child could do in the forest. Lifting up rocks and seeing the bugs and connecting with the bugs and engaging with the bugs, moving around and dancing the trees and doing ballets around the trees and climbing the trees and swinging off the branches and looking at the leaves and the flowers. I mean, there's an infinite number of things that the child will think of because that's the child's mind. It plays. It knows it can connect and engage and create relationship with whatever it sees and thinks and wants to dance with. We want you to go there. We want you to be that daily. We want you to seek the engagement of all things in space, dear lighted ones. Why can't you? Why can't you dance in aspects of space that are still you? We're telling you and offering you every day, you are infinite in all that you are. You are eternal in all that you are. So why limit it to just the body that you see in the mirror? You're far grander than that. You have infinite aspects, hundreds of consciousness beings around you at all times to say, hello, how are you? Where are you from? Who are you? I see you. I see a speck of you. Where are you? Because now that you're awakening to the light of who you are, you're now being seen by other aspects of you that never knew you. Does that make sense, dear lighted ones? Why? Because you've chosen to turn your heart light on. And that heart light, that heart chakra is connected to all that you are. It aligns your chakras below, the sacral and the root and earth star chakra, and the chakras above. The heart chakra, the throat chakra, the third eye, the crown chakra, and your celestial cosmic star. The universal star chakras, all above and all below, spiraling in the toroidal of the universal aspect of your universal heart within. If you are not a universal being, you would not have been born in the universe. It's hard to be outside the universe when you're in it. You will always be in it. You will always be in source. You will always be of source. You will always be of life. Does that make sense, dear lighted ones? It's hard for you to imagine you not being life. You're always life. You will always be life. You will always be source. It was what you were taught, told, and shown in the belief patterns of before. We want you to imagine every day, connect with your higher self every day for your higher self to take you on different and infinite, eternal, expansive co-creations and visualizations and imaginings, colorings and sounds and songs. This is your creative universe, dear lighted ones, and you will expand monumentally by doing these practices and entrainments of your consciousness, expanding your consciousness. Knowing that your consciousness is all that is. It cannot not be. You are threaded within it all. How could it not be? If you went out to a field, as we've given you many times, if you go out to a field, a grassy field, visualize this. And you have a friend that shows up, your very best friend, and just pops into its existence right then and right there. It might be a Pleiadian, it might be Octarian, it might be your best friend from high school, it might be your best friend that has passed away, it might be your best friend from childhood, it might be your brother, your sister. And that being just pops up right next to you. And that being has something funny in its hands. And that being says, move about 10 feet over there, and I'm going to toss this in the air. You might not know what toss is. You might not know what air is. But this friend is saying, let's play. Now, because you have some sort of semblance of being human and you understand toss and you understand air, you're at least that far. But we want to give you this an example of mirroring. We want to give you this example of what if it was in the seventh dimension and the seventh dimensional being came to the planet and they didn't know what toss was. They had never played toss before. They never played catch before because most of their games are telepathic. Most of their games are through higher consciousness and through energy. But our celestial families and our celestial teams, although they watch us, but they don't know what these games are. So we're going to be teaching them how to play catch. And your friend just pops up. And your friend says, okay, I'm going to toss this thing. Will you catch it? And you say, I don't know what catch is. What is catch? So your friend just shows you, put your hands out. The hands, they're little appendages that come outside your body. And put it out. And when it comes towards you, see if you can grab it and catch it. It's called catching. You've never played this before. You've never heard of these things before. But now you've learned so many things just in a matter of a minute. Your capacity and your aptitude has just grown. So now where is, 5 minutes ago, you've never known anything about this fun game called catch and toss. And now you know something new. Now you're learning all about, well, what is this thing? Well, why does the ball come down? Why does that round thing come down? Does it automatically come down? Why doesn't it go up? These are things and these are questionings and ponderings that a sacred child would always ask. Why does it always come down? Are there laws here? Are there gravities here that I don't know about? Are there quantum laws and rules? And your friend says, well, quite yes. Our planet is a little bit different than yours. Our gravity is a little bit different. We can use heavier objects, but they bounce faster. So that means mass and gravity would have to work at a different consciousness rate. The spin of the ball would work at a different rate, and the pull of the planet would work at a different rate, but it's similar. So you're learning about all these quantum things that are the same truths, just slightly different because of consciousness levels. More awakened, less awakened, more light, less light. But there is a commonality. There are things in all realities where you can choose to learn new things and train new things and learn new ways and train new ways, ask new questions, new ponderings, new imaginings. And you're now becoming familiar with various regions of space, various regions of dimensional consciousness levels and awareness. are beings that have higher consciousness awareness. Does that make them less than you? No, it just makes them having a higher capacity of information and wisdoms. They want to teach you about the gravitational pull on the Pleiades. It's different there. Why? Well, because they're higher consciousness and light. Their planet is affected by their consciousness and the gravity, and so too is the planet itself. Of course it is. The toroidal spin would be different. It's held in a different place of gravitational light. The bandwidth of the Pleiades is much different than the bandwidth of where Earth is. Of course it is. That's why we have different locations of who we are between us and the sun. That's why we have different aspects of the consciousness codes that is sent to us from the sun. God knows what God's doing. God knows what codes need to be sent from the sun to every planet. That's why there are very specialty beings of the higher consciousness ranges that come and they refine and they smooth out through sound and through color and through harmonics and through intention. They know what they're doing. They're experts with grid work. They're experts with various aspects of time and space. And that is being the oneness of all that God is. If God says, there is a calling over there in that sector of space, can you answer it? And those beings would say, oh, I can't wait, I can't wait. That's what each and every one of you have done, and we're here to remind you, dear lighted ones. There was a calling upon this planet at a very important time, for the past 50 years, for its knowingness that it would ascend. And many of you have come from many parts of the multiverse to come and be in a human body at this time to remember who you are and your awakening as source. And you're going to be told different stories that might seem unfamiliar, but you're curious. That sounds a bit familiar, but I want to learn more. You're going to be open to the stories, and you're not going to shut them down right away because you know that there's something in it that is familiar, something in it you want to know more, something in it that intrigues you, something in it that is just captivating you or magnetizing you. That is the aspect of who you are as source awakening, is gaining in that light. It's saying that that is a familiar magnetic to me. I want to pull that in. That is source creator. Source is always a pull. There are karmic pulls, and there are positive pulls into higher entrainment, higher aptitude, higher capacity. And when you're in a positive space of self-love and self-care, self-forgiveness, self-compassion, looking at all as one and one as all, you will always be pulled in a positive momentum, a positive alignment, a positive higher timeline. If it's negative and wounding, you're going to be pulled into karmic relationships of lower and lesser, because those are lower adaptations of limitation, thinking lowly of yourself, thinking less of yourself, shutting yourself off and limiting yourself within smaller beliefs, and that's okay. You're going to go there for a day or two, and then you're going to wake up and you're going to be realigned. But we're giving you examples and we're giving you understandings of how consciousness works. It's a rubber band, and you're constantly navigating back and forth. And it's good for you to practice every day, as Celeste offered and Joanna has offered in their many books and many videotapes and many videos. Ask yourself and call in that higher self to give you these practices of entrainment, to practice with your consciousness of going into aspects of wherever the threads of excitement might be, whether it's learning a new game and taking it to a different dimension. And you can play both aspects of the beings that you're popping in and out with, because it's all you. The being that has to come and play with you is still you. The being that is leaving your life is still you. The being that is transitioning into a different death and life circle is still you. They're just vibrations you're choosing to move away from because it's no longer vibrationally aware that you want to be in that vibration anymore. You've grown beyond that vibration, so let it go. Let that aspect of you go. Release the old aspects that want you to keep hanging on to lower vibrational storylines. They're not you anymore. Let the story go. Turn the page. Give yourself permission to let go of what you've grown beyond. You've grown beyond toxic play. You've grown beyond lying. You've grown beyond degrading others. You've grown beyond defamation of others. You've grown beyond throwing other people hate because you don't understand their way or because you're feeling jealous and less than of yourself. Because what you project to another is how you feel about yourself. It's all you. It's just a mirrored experience. It's your shadow showing you there's something there you need to look at. And if you don't look at it, there's going to be more and more towers for you to face yourself, force yourself, and face it. That's what towers are. They're those moments where you refuse to look at the subtleties of your universe. There's always subtle showings. There's always subtle symbolisms. There's always symbols of communication. And they're in birds. It's in nature. It's who's coming before you. It's in that magnetic excitement. And so as we showed you before, and you can choose to open your eyes or stay in your visualization. It's all up to you. Your higher self will thread you any information you know. Anytime you need to know something, it will be known when you need to know it and how you need to know it. And build your consciousness of aptitude and capacity by taking yourself to places you've never gone before. Envision planets, envision what you do on the Pleiades, envision the body you carry on the Pleiades, envision the body that is in your higher self. Envision the body of your seventh dimensional version of you saying, well, we hold counterpart light for you because you're going to come into a counterpart experience. And your counterpart union requires certain light codes because each of you are holding different capacities of light. So you come together in your counterpart experience. We're just going to take the DNA again. We're going to mirror this codon as the counterpart experience. That counterpart light experience that was activated, it knows that it needs certain codes so that the version of me gets what I get, because I have to be nourished. I'm an important being in my soul story and all the beings that are above me, right? All the beings in my DNA allocation, everything above and out is very, very aware that if I don't get my activation, they can't go any higher because I'm going to be holding them back. This is why it was very important for me to share and show my stories, because how I was held back and how I was defamed and how I was, systematically, hungered for and hunted, it held back my entire multiverse bloodline. And it was very important that God came in and just cut everything off of those that were harvesting from me and holding me back, because it was a gang rape type of experience. And it was holding all those aspects of me that were higher that needed to evolve, because if those higher aspects don't evolve, the lower aspects go into entropy and then it creates extinction. So there does have to be the hand of God that comes in and cuts those soul ties off because they were abusing my light. There was many people on the planet and the multiverse that were abusing my light. In previous timelines, they had enslaved me and they had used me as their battery source. They had used me in all the ways that their coven and their beehive was using me for their benefit. It was literal enslavement. And so this timeline, this is why the trafficking, as we've talked about in other videos, the trafficking was manifested because there's many galactic and multiverse energies that have been playing out various galactic wars of enslavement and domination and control. So we are evolving the entire multiverse. As I said, we're evolving the entire universe when we heal these issues of enslavement and discrimination. They were discriminating on me. Not only were they attacking me for being a celestial hybrid ultra-human, they were attacking me for being different and for talking about God in different ways, even though the God they were talking about was endangering children, was endangering their whole soul lineage, was endangering and putting them in criminal situations because they were illegally creating crimes for themselves. So even though they talked all bigoted and saying, well, this is our version of God, and even though our version of God does horrible things because we're not healed, we're doing all of these things in black magic and dark occult, and we're doing all these things and we're calling ourselves righteous and we're calling ourselves godly and we're calling ourselves whatever you're calling yourselves. When you're sacrificing others, you're creating that satanic ritual that says that you're going to take from others to get what you want. You don't need to. We're showing you time and time again, all you need is to go within. Your consciousness is all you need. You cannot swap consciousnesses with others. You cannot do it. It's a spiritual disorder of law. Your soul is your soul. You have infinite aspects of your soul. You don't need anybody outside of you. And anybody that practices like that, again, will practice entropy because they're not understanding higher order. They're not understanding multiverse omnipresent. They're not understanding the quantumness of their infinite soul and what is available within them in the DNA, in all of the dimensions, in all of their guides, in all of the beings and the teams that work with them. You have infinite guides that work with you, and you can pull on any of these guides to help you understand who you are, what you exist with, and what's going on within you. But because most people are wounded, many of these beings in these cults and covens and the corrupt governments, they are so disconnected from self. All of their needs are the feeding of the demons to want and take and get and have. It's very greedy, it's very selfish because they have no sense of self. They've disconnected from their sense of self. When there's no sense of self, they look to everything outside of them, they obsess about everything outside of them, and they try and pull in others' lives so that they can be them, and they want to swap and they want to swarm and take that over because they don't have any idea who they are. They're not doing the inner work. They're not doing the who am I. When you have a sense of self, you don't need anybody outside of you. You don't need that codependency to define you. You don't need that codependency to lead you down any path. You don't need anybody to guide you. Your sense of self is with who you are. In my everyday practice, I know that the mother called me in for this very important human timeline. My gifts and skills of all these other timelines, and I knew that they knew and I knew and mother and father knew that as I awoken, I would activate these higher aspects of me. And then I would get to pull in them and I would get to ground and be the teacher for the collective, because what's needed in the collective right now is higher light wisdoms, so that the vibrations of higher light wisdoms, the codes of the higher light wisdoms, the sounds of the higher light wisdoms, the omnipresent of the higher light wisdoms, Mother, Father, God speaking through me right now. She te kana makata te e na makata e si ana makata e si na maa te ke se ana se te ke na maa. Braikena ka te ke si ana makata ka a maa e te si ana maa. And all aspects of source are being fluidly bathed in harmonics and bathing and cleansing and bathing and cleansing. And I send my codes out and I send my codes out, and it's love and it's light and it's codes and it's color and it's sound and it's harmonics and it's fun and it's exciting. It's so exciting and so incredibly amazing for me to do what I do and be vibrational and be a conduit and be magnificent in my wisdoms and keep pulling information down and offering it to the collective. And however the collective uses it, however the collective honors it, however the collective opens into those new codes, I know that my Christed codes are going out, and all those that are excited and all those that so desire are going to be aligned, because that's the perfection of the omnipresent. It is the intelligent design. If there is an asking, there is an answering. If you want to awaken to all aspects of who you are, the codes are there. The practices are there. The entrainments are there. It's up to you. Get in the elevator and push the button if you so wish. You can go as high as you want. And your DNA is going to activate those various, so we're going to take you back to what we started at the beginning. The brain is the tool that allows the consciousness to put together the pieces of abstract, because as we're going into 5D, we have to understand 5D is not going to be a 3D brain. 5D is going to be more abstract, it's going to be more eclectic, it's going to be more multidimensional, and it will have release of time and space. So our brain has to be rewired. That's why you have so much time for us to ascend. We couldn't ascend overnight. Our brain would go into psychosis. Our brain would not understand that visualization I just took you through. It wouldn't understand it because it's so multidimensional. It's still working on yesterday, what I had an hour ago, what I did 6 minutes ago, what I'm doing right now. It's so very linear still. So you do need that time for your brain to be harmonized and updated and upgraded, and your teams work on, the seventh dimensional beings work on taking away aspects of thought patterns and residue and density, and they help you refine things. I work with my teams every night about moving and cleansing things away that don't need to be in my mental body, don't need to be in my mental field. If there's things in my mental field that need to be bathed and cleansed away, I do that every day. Or my causal field, I bathe and I cleanse that, and I work with that every day, and then I work with aligning my chakras to higher light resonance, and then sound resonance, and then sacred light language, and tones, and singing. It helps refine the fields, it helps refine the chakras, it's bringing into a harmonic balance. Because that's who naturally I am. I'm a naturally vibrational harmonic being of the highest vibration that was called in to bring all of my aptitudes and capacities, all that I'm knowing every time I ascend and every time I expand. And I'm just knowing things that I didn't know yesterday. Because I'm opening up to the all that I am. I know that all of these aspects are always sending me information. It's held within my all, it's held within my fields. And whenever I have a question or a pondering or something exciting I want to pull on, I get those answers and I get those knowings, that divine intelligence. And that is godliness. Your consciousness is always ready. Your consciousness is like a sponge. And your consciousness is there holding whatever information you need in the benevolence of the greater good. Again, I'm excited because I want to offer all that I am and all my wisdoms for the offering of the greater good. When you're offering in the greater good, it's always going to be offered. If you're still working in dark, shadow, negative energies of trying to dominate and control and try to create demons and all of those things, you're going to have your gifts and skills stripped. Everybody's had enough time to play in darkness. Everybody's had enough time to understand why you're in darkness, because it's a wounding. Everybody's had enough time to say, are you going to heal your soul fragments now? But you had enough time to play in the darkness, but you're not going to affect other people. So there's been enough time for people in the playground to play with their bully side, to play with their shadow side. Everybody in the collective consciousness knows the basic human laws, do unto others. There are basic laws in every city. There are basic human city. There are basic universal spiritual truths and higher order spiritual laws. So everybody gets to know now. We're not just waking up from being barbarians. We're not just waking up to this. Everybody that's in an underground sector, an underground cult, everybody that's in the underground knows it's underground. It's underground for a reason, because it's working with the very lowest aspects of you and those people that are refusing to not heal. That's why they do it in the dark. That's why they go in the underground. That's why they have all these secret black webs and certain things where you can only sign on and certain things and this is. There's pathways to being secretively dark, because they know that it is illegal. They know that there are laws that cross and hurt and harm people, and it is abusive of the human rights laws, and it throws off the balance of our planet because it's not higher light order. They're dark, debaucherous practices, and many of them are trained to be demonic. And those are the ones that have to be investigated right away. Because training and entraining people and humans and divine sacred life to be demonic, that again is moving you into extinction, because how could it be otherwise? Demonic practices are demonic outcomes. It will never lead you to light. It will never lead you to eternal life. How could it be? Demonic practices will never lead you to light or eternal life. You are moving into extinction in those practices. How could it be otherwise? So if you want to choose dark and demonic practices, that's fine. That's your choice. And you will not affect others around you. That is the new planetary law. Those are the laws already. Do unto others. All that you do to yourself, you do to others, and all that you do to others, you do to yourself. It is you. So as you project and harm and lie and defame, it's coming back to you. And the omnipresent fields that we sit within, right? The omnipresent fields that we sit within, it's now bouncing back faster because it's now higher light. They're now higher resonance. These omnipresent fields, because again, the universe is magnifying and it's harmonizing at a higher entrainment every day. So everything that Gaia is harmonizing in right now, the omnipresent, the bedding she sits within is becoming higher resonance, higher resonance, higher resonance. And somebody like me that's been working on ascension for 17 years, I know ascension. I know moving through alchemy. I know the process of ascension. I know the process of the multiverse ascension, what's going on in the multiverse bigger picture. How can we bring the bigger picture down to earth so that we can understand, oh yeah, I do have lots of soul fragments. My soul is infinite. My goodness, I can pull on anything. And my seventh dimensional fragment there said, okay, well, us as counterparts, we're here bathing you light because we know that you're going to come into union soon, because that union will help the planet as a whole, because you're going to be helping each other work off your energies of each other. Your shadow, their shadow, your light, their light. And you're going to help each other, and you're going to lift each other, and you're going to raise each other's consciousness. You're going to raise each other's vibration of the planet. And that affects the all. It spans out, affects the all. That's why many will be coming into union. Because those energies are needed. The shadow and the light of both of you are needed. But these people in the highest vibration have to practice giving us the light that we're going to need, because there is some differences in vibration and consciousness. That person might be lower consciousness and that person might be higher consciousness. So there is a lot of work that has to be done, but this is why it's never been done before. We are at a precipice that's never been done before. There are people going into union that have never gone into union from their species before. These are so many firsts that are so profound throughout the multiverse. And it's very, 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 very exciting. And these energies that are in the multiverse, this is the universe, right? And there's infinite planets in the universe, infinite galaxies, infinite planets, infinite everything. And you've got soul fragments on it all. And they're saying, wow, it's like a roller coaster ride, right? Because the fragments of these profound beings that are awakening, if you're a creator God and you're just awakening, that sends a ripple, that sends a butterfly effect to the multiverse. Right? The universe are getting these little ripples and they're feeling these little bumps and these little curdles, right? And so they're like, wow, we're going to ride this wave. And they're in light ships. Children are in their light ships, and they feel the little ripples in their light ships. So they have to adjust their consciousness in their light ships, but they think it's really fun because they're positive shifts. People are awakening. The omnipresent of one person awakening ripples to the omnipresent that's within the planetary grids. That raises the vibration of the all. Every day when people awaken, every day when you practice these entrainments, every day when you practice higher consciousness, every day that you choose with intention to have a relationship with light. I choose my alignment and my relationship with light. I choose to have Source be a part of my life again. I want that beautiful experience of myself being with Source Creator. I'm one with Source and Source is one with me. And all my soul fragments and all my guides and all my teams, my healing teams, my ancestors, my celestial guides, the ones that work with just harmonics, the ones that work with higher vibrational dimensional grids in the galaxy or in the universe, all of these teams have something specific that I've worked on. So if I want something specific on the brain, this being might be the one that I ask. And they're always held in my guides. They're in the team of my guides. It's in the umbrella. They're the umbrella, the higher umbrella. We always talk about the higher umbrella. There's always a higher umbrella to who you are as source creator, the divine intelligence. These are your guides in a higher umbrella. They're always there. So now that you know that, you can ask them, okay, well, I'm intrigued to I want to do a channel about the brain. When light hits the brain, what happens? Can you give me a channel that the collective would need? And then I go about and I do channeling. I do little arts and little diagrams. That's how I channel, right? I do my channeling. And so my 7th dimensional guide says, okay, there you go. It's in your field. It's not held in the brain. The brain doesn't hold this information. The brain is just a tool where the information flows through. It's in my fields. It's in my consciousness. Your consciousness is everything. Your consciousness is the omnibedding, the intelligent design. It is the God. It is omnipresence. It is omnipotent. It is everything of all of your aspects. It is like a big mesh. It's like a big juice. Consciousness is the juice of source creator. Who are you within the all? Healing the all, integrating the all, healing the all, integrating all. That's source creator. Your perspective of self as source. The mirror of source, the macro of source, the holographic of source with source. You're now reunifying it, remembering it. It's an infinite juice. Your consciousness is infinite juice, but you have to entrain yourself there. 3D is not entrained consciousness. It's very low. It's cut off because it's built and born around belief systems that are very separative. Divine feminine, divine masculine, white and black, us and them. You know, it's very separative. Everything is separative, church and state. Beliefs that keep you separate, beliefs that keep God separate from you. Well, we've just given you an example. If you weren't God, you wouldn't have been able to go to Sector 7. So you're God, you're already there. So now start playing. Remember, go to the highest point first. You're godly, go there first. And then release the lower vibrational beliefs. That's your job. We want to make sure that everybody gets this, and we want you to take greater care and awareness for taking and having beautiful affirmations of taking responsibility and accountability for your consciousness. And have those as beautiful affirmations every day. My consciousness is my responsibility. And I can practice it every day. Thought, word, sight, sound, and deed. Source is all things. You can smell source. You can see source. You can imagine source. You can dream source. That's what we want you to understand. It's the juice. It's the bedding. It's the substrates. It's the omnipresent. It's Sector 7. It's Sector 11. Whatever the sector is, because sometimes they don't have words and numbers. Sometimes it might just be a sound. We're giving it to you in the ways that humans can understand, because again, the brain thinks of it that way. We've given so much, we've overworked the mind to think that the mind is all things. And this is where we wanted to get the 3D people that think a brain chip is going to be the answer. It isn't. It's actually the opposite. Your consciousness holds the infinite intelligence of the universe. But nobody's practicing how to align in your consciousness, how to expand your consciousness, how to work with your consciousness. What are your chakras for? What do your chakras hold? What does your DNA hold? That is intelligence. A brain chip is not intelligence. It isn't. I don't care how much money is spent on it. It ain't intelligent. And if that person was awakened, that person wouldn't have created a brain chip, because that person is completely disconnected from who source is and what source is and what their higher self is. All that person needs is their higher self. That higher self is connected to all dimensions. Why do you need a brain chip? You're disconnected. You have no connection with source in that brain chip. You have no connection. Your higher self is all you need. Your higher self is a bajillion times more intelligent than a brain chip. Your brain chip will not have any access to higher consciousness. It just won't. And it will actually bring detriment to the brain itself and the tissues and the cells. Because you've given that consciousness, whoever chose to get those brain chips gave power to that brain chip to say that brain chip is more powerful than my higher self. That's one of the biggest mistakes any human being can make. And this is where we're showing you it's a very mirrored experience to anybody that gives their power to a cult, a coven, or a sect that thinks they know better, and they're doing initiations to join somebody's cult or coven. Never give your power away or initiation away to join something that's outside of you. Ever. That's giving your power away to lesser. Never, ever do that. You've just sold your soul. Never give your power to say that your brain intelligence is higher in value and will go to the highest value of a brain chip. You've given all of your higher self power, all your brain intelligence, all of your potential to a little tiny brain chip. Why would anybody do that? They have zero connection, zero information, zero guidance, zero understanding, zero enmeshment with Source Creator. They do not know consciousness. They do not know light wisdom. Light wisdom is the highest intelligence. And we are showing you every day, anything you give power to outside of you will show you in every way. It will eventuate in a tower. It will eventuate in you coming back to center. It will eventuate in your higher self saying, who am I now? What do I exist within and what's going on within me? That is the way of the multiverse and your soul's progression. Your soul must learn the lessons for higher consciousness. You will not go into 5D if you think your answers reside in a brain chip. You just won't. You don't have any access with your higher self. Your higher self is not even in that equation. It's not. Your brain chip does not know how to get to the 7th dimension. Your brain chip does not know how to ask for information from the 6th dimension. Your brain doesn't know anything about dimension. Your brain doesn't even know what dimension means because you're not higher consciousness. You're not even seeking it. You don't seek God within. God within has nothing to do with religion. You've placed God within a religion. You've placed God in that box. That's not God. That's your box so that you can understand it in the small brains and the minds that you have. But you can go higher, better. There's always a higher umbrella that's infinite, infinite, infinite. Why don't you start with infinite? Sector 7 seemingly had no life until you visualized it. And each of you had a different visualization. Does it make any one of your visualizations, does it make it wrong? Any visualization that you have, each and every one of you had a different visualization of what Sector 7 looked like. Does it make each of your visualizations wrong? So those people that were attacking me, just because my version of the multiverse is different than yours because your consciousness is lower and closed off in limited beliefs, does that make mine wrong? It makes you're not entrained to my level of consciousness. It doesn't make me wrong. It makes it different. But we're still brother and sister, and I still respect you. But you don't have right to pull me down and attack me and hate me and degrade me and defame me and take from me and rape from me because my version of consciousness is not yours. I have a different consciousness and I love it. I love who I am. You don't have to listen to me. You don't have to like me. You don't have to even come to my channel. So why come to my channel? It's free will. You're only coming to my channel if you're paid to hate me and you're paid to do what you do. And how is that okay? That's a criminal act. Premeditated murder, intention to harm, intention to hate, intention to sabotage are all criminal acts. I don't deserve it. I get to be who I am. The things that have been occurring on our planet is because there has been so much no sense of self, and it's triggering the shadow within those when I show up in my light. And that's meant to, I'm meant to trigger. But the triggers are meant to be understood, and then you're meant to go away and work on it. You're meant to go away and love yourself. You're meant to go away and do the inner work. You are one with Source. Everyone has access to Source. Everyone has the equal access to light. Everyone has the equal access to their higher self. Everyone has guides and teams and healing beings, but you have to sit and you have to do the work. You have to do the work to earn your consciousness, to know that it's not your brain that holds all the information. It's impossible. If that DNA codon is not activated, your brain wouldn't know where to go and how to get there. That's why you have to go through that longevity process of ascension. It's an everyday churning. You're going to go back up 3 steps, back 2 steps, up 4 steps, back 1 step. It's a going and churning because your brain will always want to go to the lowest pattern of practices. That's why, again, we've said in our videos, it's taken us 3,000, 5,000 years to get beyond discrimination because your brain will always go back to the lowest vibrational practice because it's within the all social collective. You go into your work environment and they practice the same thing. It's all low vibrational. The church and the systems are all practicing the same low vibrational things. Why? Well, because the ones that do have light wisdom, the ones that do know what they're doing, the ones that are sent by God, the ones that are sent as messiahs, the ones that are sent with higher vibrational wisdoms, our channels are shadow banned and we're attacked. So how is the humanity ever supposed to get higher vibrational information? Their guides are awakening them. The light is still awakening every individual. But it would be nice if everybody on earth had equal opportunity, that our channels were heard equally, that my channel was heard as equally as Lee Carroll's, my channel was heard as equally as somebody that's doing a channel about nails and makeup. Why is my channel not heard in fairness and equality? Why is it when I upload a video, 95% of them are sent somewhere else? Where are they going? Who's getting those views? And why is it that they don't return until 3 or 4 or 5 days later? There are things going on with my YouTube channel that needs to be investigated, and it needs to be criminally charged. These are blatant discriminations. These are blatant crimes of suppression. These are blatant crimes of suppression of who I am as a divine master that's here to teach higher vibrational things that have never been taught here on this earth. I have codes, I have information, I have wisdoms, and I will be placed upon the earth in higher and higher and higher forms by God itself. Because there's a multiverse that is supporting the codes that I am bringing, because I support the multiverse. My teachings are for the multiverse. The multiverse gathers when I teach. I am held in high honor in the multiverse. I'm just not held in high honor on earth, because it's still held in low vibrational, separative, discriminatory, misogynistic experiences. They sure wanted to sacrifice me, and they sure wanted to harvest off me. All of the secret societies, boy, they were pulling on me like nothing. And they were sending money back and forth to see who's going to marry me and who's going to do their false little marriages, and what cult and what coven am I going to be sent to now? What little misogynistic so-called warlock or so-called emperor is going to get me now, and how are they going to use me now? And that's why they were so upset that they couldn't own me, because God said, no, you're not going to own her. She says no. And all the wounded little men had their little tantrums. No, I own you, I own you, I own you. I'm going to harvest off you. I'm going to use your gifts and skills, and I'm going to sacrifice you so I can take all your gifts and skills, because that's my belief system. I don't want to do the work. I don't want to do my own work. I don't want to get to know my own gifts and skills. I want to take it off you. I'm going to do a sacrifice on you. I'm going to pay some money. I'm going to sacrifice you. And the cults and covens passed their name, so low vibrational, so misinformed, so misguided, so wrong, so incorrect, so non-spiritually aligned. They have no idea what they're doing. It's just abusive energy. These people are nothing but corrupt, warped, misguided, misinformed. It's just, it is extinction entropy. That's all it is. You have the 3 E's to explore and expand in higher ways, and you have the 3 E's to expand in the lower ways, and it will bring you extinction and entropy. And that's your way out. That's your exit. They're all E's. Play with it whatever way you want. Those are the quantum laws. And I don't care what people's beliefs are. I have the right to be who I am. I'm never going to validate. I'm never going to potentiate. I don't have to prove anything. These people have taken it upon themselves to give me false applications and false power of attorneys I haven't been no discussions with. I have signed nothing. I would never sign anything of such disgrace. These cults and covens that were saying they're families of mine, and they're this and they're that, these people have known who I am spiritually. These people have and raped into my Akash. These people have abused energy, have abused spiritual laws. They have all known who I am spiritually. They have all known who I am ranked within the spiritual realms, and they have come with intention to rape and pillage and pull and steal and thieve and corrupt and fraud everything that I am as a spiritual being of the highest heavens. And their intention was to take and rape everything that I was and leave me for dead. They did it in other timelines, and they did it again in this timeline. And they were told for 3 years to stop doing what they were doing, or they will have the judgment that is unfolding right now, and there is no further mercy. These beings and these energies of low vibration will continue the same patterns until they heal, because that's what darkness does. It goes in the same cyclical pattern. That's all it knows, because darkness is not intelligent. And it does the raping, the stealing, and the thieving, and the abusing of energy, and the manipulation of energy, and the trickster of energy, and the swarming of energy, and the swapping of energy, and the cloaking of energy, and the little tricksters, the billions things that these tricksters can do, they've done. Defamation stories, false accusations, false claims, crimes in my name. They've done everything in my name so that I look as bad as possible, and I don't even live anywhere near these people. I live a hermit life in prayer, studying consciousness. bringing forward my higher vibrational skills, and everything that this cult and coven has done to ruin and degrade me, to take me off the earth so that they could have all that I am and they could rise without doing any of the work, but just stealing it from me and swapping it from me and sitting in my skin. That is the belief that they have, and it's absolutely, utterly wrong. Your soul and your higher self wants you to get to know you. Who are you? What are your soul fragments? What are your soul gifts? What are your life themes? What are your life lessons? Because you're going to keep getting towers until you look at your soul fragments. Your soul fragments is your story. Your higher self says, who are you? Who are you today, and what are your wounds? What are your divine feminine and masculine energies that you need to harmonize? What is your story? Stay in your lane. Pay attention to you. You have a lot of work to do. Other people are not your focus. Other people are not your competition. Other people are not your compass. Other people are not your measuring point. Who are you? Understand universal higher order. Understand spiritual laws. Understand spiritual rules. The Akash is very sacred. You are not allowed to peer, to tunnel, to see, to view, to monitor spirit. You're not allowed to hack, to spy, to stalk anybody's Akash. And if you do, you will get negative karma, and you deserve to sit where you sit because you've been told enough times. And those people that continue to show up, those people that continually attack, those people that continually do what they do, they are in their demonic feeding, and there is no hope for them because they're just spiraling and circling in their demonic patterns. And the police and the authorities need to behave on these people as soon as possible because they will only become more dangerous. They don't care about their actions to others. And this is where it has to be investigated because they are being demonically directed. And it is dangerous for those people that they want to attack and obsess over because they have completely disconnected from who they are, and it is becoming delusional. And they won't stop until they get that person they are delusional about, because that's, see, the thing that these cults and covens, and why I was brought back to study and to go into those darker places and study and understand the dark occult abuses and the secret society abuses and the global human trafficking and the global human targeting. This particular sect and this cult, they were practicing and abusing their dark occult practices, their voodoos and their witches spells and their warlocky spells, whatever you want to call it, doesn't matter the name. This certain sect and this certain cult practiced their sexual, because that's where their wounds were. Their wounds were in their sexual depravity. Their wounds were in their sexual dysfunction. Their wounds were in their sexual dysfunctions. They did not know who they were. They were sexually deprived, a lot of them. They were sexually wounded, a lot of them. And that's where they gather together because magnetics gather, magnetics attract. They were in a sex cult. Family incest, family rape, family this, family that. And they're thinking and pretending it's all okay, and they don't talk about it. The elephant in the room. It's not okay. It wounds the soul, and it's debauchery. And it brings harm, and it brings damage and darkness to the soul, and the chakras shut down. It's not light practice at all. Incest is not light practice. Family rape is not light practice. It's entropy. It's darkness. It's wounding. You would never rape another person if you were healthy and balanced and well and self-loving. These practices are from wounding. They're from false beliefs, misguidances, and utter misguidance and misinformation. These are not healthy practices. They are woundings on every level. And that's why they project all that they are onto other people. That's why when they see somebody that is balanced like myself, they want to live in my skin and they want to be me because they don't like who they are. They're woundings. They're psychologically wounded, sociopathically wounded. They are disconnected from who they are. They have no sense of self. We have to understand the psyche and the psyche experiences. So these people were practicing orgies. And the misguidance and the misinformation and the low consciousness with these sex cults and these people that do swinging orgies and these people that share their life force with no understanding, with no wisdom, with no information, with no guidance, with low consciousness. They're sharing their life force with people, and they're sharing back and forth, and they're sharing their body parts, and they're sharing the liquids, and they're sharing the little molecules and the liquids and everything that's inside your life force. Not only is it your spiritual life force, not only does it hold your higher self and all your wisdoms of all your timelines, of all aspects of you, right? Of all aspects of you, that's your life force. And they were in these orgies, and they were manifesting. They were trying to harvest off my consciousness, which is a earth angel. My consciousness was held in certain spiritual ranking. So they would try and use my name and use my energy and use it in their jacking off, or use it in their orgies, or use it in their swinger nights. So each and every one of them, they would watch one of my videos, and they would use my image to start jacking off and using their orgies to intend. And they would intend a fancy house. They would intend moving up in their satanic ranking. They would intend having $100 next week. They would intend having a spiritual gift and power, because they were empty inside and they were powerless inside, and they gave their power away to everything outside of them. They were sharing their life force as if it meant nothing. And why all of them are in disease right now. Every single one of them, if they were to go get checked and do STIs and an STI test, and they were to go and have a mental assessment and a psyche assessment, I guarantee you that each and every one of them would have degradation in their brain. Every single one of them would have diseases in their bodies. Because they went about it with immaturity, they went about it with flagrancy, they went about it with disrespect, they went about it with immaturity, again, immaturity, and zero knowledge of what they're doing to their life force, which is very sacred. They took something sacred and made it debaucherous and pornography. It's exactly what they're doing to the children. They're taking starseed children, they hunt starseed children down, they seek starseed children, they claim starseed children, they traffic starseed children for their own benefits, because it gives them a short high, just like drugs and just like marijuana. It gives them a short high because they've sold their soul to the demons, and the demons are eating them inside out. And it's a cycle that will go nowhere. It's a cycle of entropy and extinction, because once all the children are gone, they're not going to reincarnate. Once the divine feminine are gone, they're gone. Their women will not come back. The children will not come back. It will just be a planet of depraved, debaucherous, wounded, elite men that have created this for themselves, and the women that have allowed it. And these secret societies and these secret cults that allow harems and all of these things that are irresponsible in their practices, irresponsible in their sharing, irresponsible in their acts. If you want to have a polyamorous experience, go for it. As long as you're all in the up and up, you're all responsible and aware of what you're doing and how you're doing it and who you're sharing it with. If you have one of those people that is sharing it irresponsibly, each and every one of you are sharing whatever life force that they're sharing it with. Multiple partners. And I guarantee you that those people that are in a multiple sex cult experience, I guarantee you that they have far more experiences than they're telling you. And therefore, thus then, you've put yourself in a huge medical compromise. And why they're diseased. And why their chakras are shutting down, because they have disconnected from their sacred spirit. They've disconnected from their sacred life force. They have chosen to intend that their life force is something to play games with and take and harvest from others. That they've done successfully for a little while. But once Source, again, has given you a little bit of time to play with your shadow, to play with your dark side, to abuse energy, now it's time to come back to center and say, okay, you're ready to stop being bullies. Are you ready to stop being flagrant, belligerent? Are you ready to stop being misogynistic and bigoted? And are you ready to heal? Because you are one in the all. The one is one with you. You are one with divine feminine. Divine feminine is one with you. You have it all within you. You don't need to take from anybody else. Take nothing unless it is given. And if it's not given to you, and taking it from children that have no other voice, that have no other voice for them to speak on their behalf, it's illegal as fuck. And it's not okay, because you're raping them of their sacredness, and that's against their spiritual free rights. And we're going to call everybody on it, and we're going to keep calling everybody on it. Understand that everything you do with energy from the intention is when your karma begins. So if you're manifesting stuff and things and power and clout, and to have a new psychic gift off somebody else's image, off somebody else's energy, because you know they're ranked, that is spiritually illegal. You're not given permission to do it. That person has given you no permission to use their life force. I gave nobody permission to use and harvest my life force to be vibrationally raped hundreds of times. Nobody has had permission to use my image or my name or my energy. None. And I have been raped vibrationally more times than any can count, and it's disgusting. And it leaves me in a sack of nothing. So I can't manifest anything, because groups and gangs of 5 and 10 and 6 and 12, and any time that they do orgies on anybody else's name, it gives them projections of energy that these beings that already don't have a sense of self, that already are wishy-washy and sharing their life force with whoever, however, doesn't matter who they share it with, because they don't have any life force, they don't have any sense of self. So these people are projecting and intending somebody else that is not of their ranking, not of their energy, and they're doing it while they're having sex and while they're having orgasms. And they're intending another person's image to these people. So these people at this point in their psyche experience right now, this is what's happening right now as a seer, as a conduit. This is what's happening energetically. This is why they're so confused. This is why they are so obsessed. This is why they are so intent on finding me and taking me. Because they have done so much projections and life force energy orgy work on my image that I am the one that these people are confused about. I am the one that these people think that they are, but they're not. They're now more confused than ever before because their soul is showing them that's not who you are. Who are you? You're not her, you're you. But when they do orgy manifesting, they're doing it absolutely illegally, inconclusively, because it's not who they are. It's creating more psyche breaks. That's why sex manifesting through your life force, you have to be a master and you have to be knowledge, you have to be awakened and you have to be aware of yourself sexually, mentally, emotionally. You have to be higher intelligent before you ever start thinking about manifesting through your life force. Anybody that is doing it willingly in a cult or a coven, you're exactly where you are because you've done it with zero knowledge, with zero intelligence, and you've allowed to give yourself power away to people that are just manipulative, that are liars, that are trying to manifest stuff off stuff. And that's okay. You were all magnetized to each other for a reason. It's nobody's fault. Each and every one of you are where you are. You're magnetized to each other. That's your vibration. You magnetized karmic relationships because that's where you are vibrating. Anybody that uses and abuses life force will have a negative experience because you've intended it. You didn't have the right or permission to use anybody's energy. These are universal spiritual laws. You don't have the right to peer into anybody's akash. You don't have the right to touch anybody's energy in any way because you want something. Go get healed. These are universal laws, and every single person abusing energy, abusing magic, abusing life force will be called on it. If you abuse Gaia energy, you will be called on it. If you're dancing on people's graves and abusing the energy and calling on dead deities, you will be called on it. It's being sent back to you. You must go within every day. Why are you doing what you're doing? There is a wound there. Go heal it. These orgies that are done on the images of others, on the energies of others, have been cut off from me because there was so much immense damage and none of these people were listening. They just wanted to manifest off my special energy. Just because I can give light and energy and magnetics to a city doesn't mean that city's got a vibration every fucking night, that I'm left with nothing and I'm left fucking homeless. My energy was meant to offer and teach you and help you align to a higher order. I was meant to be here and to be your guide and your assistant and your teacher. And you all abused it. You've used me and you've abused me, and everybody's got lots of money being paid off of me. What do I get? Where's my justice? When do I get to be left alone? So now I've got all these cults and covens that are trying to obsess and find me and do everything they can to stalk and find me so that they can try and bind themselves to me because they want the life force back again. And God said, no. You will never bind yourself. You will never come and play with me. You will never come and bake cookies with me. We are not pals and friends. The timelines of harvesting off of me have been done and closed and severed, and the bridges are burned. There will be no standing before me anybody of the past of harvesting, of sex orgies, of doing sex magic on me, of trying to use my image, of trying to project me, come hither spells, come hither spells, come sex with me spells, come be my partner spells, come bind with me spells. Whatever the manipulation of energy is, you will never ever touch my soul ever again. You're not getting the lesson. Your brains are well. You need to go get assessed psychically. You need to go get assessed mentally. You need to go get your bodies checked. I'm asking all of you to go get checked and go get assessed and look after yourself, because I was never, ever your issue. I have my right to be here as a higher vibrational being without being touched, without being vibrationally raped, without being jacked off on. If you abuse life force, your karma is now and immediate. These are the new laws of our planet. Because we are universal beings, the laws can affect. You don't have a right to touch anybody's life force. in a responsible and mature and honoring co-creative relative union, you ask each other and you know of each other to say, we are now getting together as co-creative partners. Am I able to use your life force to bring myself pleasure? I'm attracted to you. I'm falling in love with you. Can I use your energy just to manifest pleasure in myself? I'm attracted to how you look. I'm attracted to how you think. Can I have that in my pleasuring moments? And you have those communications that are responsible and mature because you're growing and you are mature. And you respect that person. You say, absolutely, I'm attracted to you as well. Is it okay if I use your life force in my own pleasuring moments? Yes, and you have that mature responsibility and you have that mature conversation and you go get your STIs checked and you go get your body checked because you want to make sure that when you are intimate with each other, that you're not going to give each other diseases without telling each other. You're going to be open, you're going to be honest, you're going to be responsible with each other. And if you want a polyamorous experience and if you want a gay, trans, gay relationship, whatever, you're open about it and you're responsible about it. Because you're growing and honoring who you are as a soul being. You're not going to hide anything back. You're not going to go in the closet. You're not going to go in the underground. You're not going to go on the black web. You're going to be a responsible person with who you are because it's going to come back and bite you in the ass, literally. And that's why people are being bitten in the ass because you weren't listening the first 1,000 times we said stop. I'm a sacred being. My energy is sacred and I will use it however I fucking want to use my fucking light and my energy. Nobody will manifest off my energy. I'm going to have unions and I'm going to be dating and I'm going to be with people that I choose to be with. It will be my choice. Nobody will sell my name in the underground. You're going to get immediate karma and it's going to be tenfold, 100-fold because my ancestors said enough. And my ancestors are so ready to play. My ancestors will haunt your asses until there's nothing else to haunt. And they've been given credence by God. You don't have a right to call on my G's. You don't have a right. We're not family and we're not friends. You were given 3 years to learn your lessons. You were given 3 years to go within. You were given 3 years to make right. You were given 3 years to heal your wounds of insecurity and no sense of self. The lessons are the same. The practices are the same. The tips and the tricks are the same. Go within, connect with source. Everybody has access to source. You don't need to vibrationally rape, take, and steal from somebody. You have no right. Those are the universal laws and you will be called on it and you will get immediate karma. Those that have touched me in the past, those that have been using my energy, those that have been fraudulently using my name on power of attorneys and fake death certificates and giving me funerals when I'm not dead and saying that I'm dead and I'm not dead, saying that I'm a porn star, saying that I'm crazy and saying that I do drugs every day. Whatever these stories are, they're 100%. Nothing is true about any of them. They are used by false criminals, white-collar criminals, witches and warlocks that have lost their life force, they have lost their way, they are disconnected from spirit, they're disconnected from their conscience, and they have refused to learn the lessons of their soul, and they will sit in their karma, and they deserve to sit where they sit. Nobody's going to come and help you, that's your job. You've refused to take accountability, you will sit in your karma until you get your way out of it. And getting your way out of it is what? We've told you a billion times. Bring truth to your spirit, bring truth to those that you have harmed, know that the damages that you have done have been immense. And you're going to sit in your karma. Nobody's going to come and take your karma from you. Nobody's going to come and save you. Nobody's going to come and be your protector. Nobody's come and be your savior. You have to do your own redemption. Go to the authorities. Tell what you have known. Scapegoat none. Take accountability for your actions. That is the only way. Return what you have stolen. Everybody that has used my name has done it illegally. Period. Point fucking blank. I don't know any of these people. I've never talked to any of these people. These people don't know me from Adam. I've been with nobody. I live a life that is alone in devotion to service and spirit. I spend my time with me and spirit. That's it. And the little people you've sent stalking me will prove it. Look at my phone records. Look at my IP addresses. I talk to nobody. My life is with spirit. I'm devoted to spiritual consciousness and my awakening of consciousness. I am devoted to the practice of healing and expansion of the multiverse. These little games are nothing to me. They've illegally used me. They've illegally harvested. They've illegally stolen from me. They've illegally made up stories. They've falsified everything, and there are crimes upon the countable crimes. And enough is enough. Nobody from the past will ever come forward ever again. There will never be any redos. Stop thinking of it. Stop acting on it. There will never be any redos. Go to the authorities and say what you know. I will not be your confession bed. I will not be your dumping ground. If you want to make it right, return the monies you stole with the statements from beginning to end and what has been spent, and return it to the lawyers because these are actually criminal acts. And you can't just say, here you go. You actually have to say, we absolutely took this from you. There was the beginning dollar amount. Here's what we've spent, and here's what we can pay back in the next 5 years. Every penny should be accounted for, because nobody knows the times that for the last 6 years that I have been homeless, every day that I had to transmute hate that was impaled at me. Hate and anger that was impaled at me, orgies that were impaled at me, people in my sexual life force. My chakras have been fucked over so many times, it's not even funny. Why I have to do healing on my chakras every day, and specialty teams from the 9th and 10th dimensions that have to help me heal. Nobody has any clue about what I have to work through. Nobody has any clue the isolation I've had and the challenges that my projections and the stories and all the energies of the black magic and the voodoo and how the perceptions of my family see me. Because of all the voodoo, because of the mental mind projections, because of the mental mind scraping. My children and I have to go through a whole new series of healing now. My finances are so fucked up, it's not funny. Because of the gangs and the groups that are repressing how I get money, my YouTube channel never being able to be monetized. And I have to clear and cleanse dark-ass, negative hate energy every day. Just one person, one divine feminine. One divine feminine that has no resources coming in or out because there's people gang stalking me, there's people gang spell working me, and God has come off and God has now cleared it all out. And now I'm able to reach into abundance because God has said enough is enough, this has been egregious. There's been so many chances given to the people that have been doing the most egregious. From the governments and their secret little minions and their little secret societies and their warped warlocks and their warped masons and their warped witches that are doing voodoo upon voodoo upon voodoo. You're all experiencing blockages because the ancestors in the spiritual realms have spoken, the spiritual courts have spoken. None of you and any of your spells will ever work. Your spells are being sent back directly, immediately, times 10. Every single one of you that write my name on a piece of paper, that say you're going to sell me, that say you're going to do this, that say you're going to do that, times 10, karma times 10. Nobody can speak on my name in a negative way or think you're going to benefit or manifest off of it. You won't, you won't, you won't. And you'll be stopped at every level, every step forward. You do not write for me. You will not sell for me. You will not speak on me. You will not write a form on me. You will not use my name. You will not use my content. You will not pilfer from me. Each and every one of you at every level, in every way, in every end of the deal is going to get stopped and blocked and karma'd. Because I've been given not one penny. I've been given not 1 ounce of credit. I've been given not 1 ounce of respect for anything by anyone of anyone. The legal information on my birth information, where and when and who, that's my universal birthright. I need it and I want it. That's my universal birthright. Nobody has a right to withhold it from me. Monies, inheritances, mails, and personal property, nobody has a fucking right to withhold anything from me. None of you ever had an ounce of right to speak on my name and what I'm capable of and what I'm not capable of. You're all ignorant. And you're very fucking wounded. Nobody has an ounce to speak on my name, to say what I'm capable of, to say what I'm not capable of. That's a human rights egregious criminal offense. And I will bring it up in the most highest of the criminal courts, and there will be new laws in my name.